Evening. I'm just putting this up as an aid to the higher students who are doing an essay on the Crucible for me, which is due next week. So here are some quick pointers. I wanted to first of all draw your attention to, on a question sheet in the higher exam, there's actually a box at the top which will ask you to make reference to certain techniques in a piece of writing. This is a really good checklist for you to make sure that you're actually giving the examiner what they want. Yes, there is the question, but if you keep going to the back of the page, it will indicate there certain things which you need to be mentioning. So for example, in the case of a drama question, I have it written here, you need to make reference to some or all of characterization, a key scene, dialogue, the climax, the exposition, the denouement, the structure, the plot, the setting, stage directions, monologue, all sorts of things. And it's a nice thing to just keep yourself straight, refer back to it, just to make sure that you are talking about these things. I often see a lot of essays, I see a lot of essays anyway, where there is a great deal of analysis, but it doesn't actually make reference to these things explicitly. Now, just by saying, I am good, that you are addressing, for example, dialogue, or the point you're making is about characterization, that will make it clear to the examiner that you know what you're talking about and that you are sticking to the question, you're giving them what they want. So that's a really, really good thing to keep in mind, and for your essay, please do this. The essay that I'm asking you to do is to do with the revelation of an important truth in the Crucible. Now in this case, we're going to be looking at Proctor's revelation in the court of his affair with Abigail. And you will do this either in relation to, you'll write with regards to relationships or with regards to themes. There will be a crossover between the two, but try and keep to what you have set out to do. You're going to write about relationships, John Proctor, Abigail, Elizabeth, fine. Or you're going to talk about themes, in which case I would stick to 1, 2 tops. I would stick to maybe justice, the value of the name and reputation, hysteria, all sorts of things you can talk about thematically, but try and stick to the theme that you are writing about and don't drift around. Okay, here are some pointers I was thinking about earlier with regards to the theme of the name or the reputation. John Proctor, of course, is defined by his name and his reputation. He's a good man in the village, but he doesn't go to church. And this puts him at odds with the authorities. And of course, the other thing that put him at odds with the authorities is his affair, which has caused Elizabeth to fire Abigail when she found out. Okay, and Abigail herself regards John as a kind of a good man and a father figure. She's got a very peculiar take on John anyway. She is unable to let go of John when he gives her the elbow, essentially, and she will not allow him his name as long as he rejects her. So she will begin to undermine his position. She says, "You love me, John Proctor, and whatever sin it is, you love me yet." She will not accept that the value of the name is more important than the value of whatever the nature of their affair was. She won't let him go. In court later on, Proctor finds himself at odds with the court, because Danforth says, "You must understand, sir, that a person is either with this court or he must be counted against it. There be no road between." In this case, John is fighting for his name, but in order to do so, he has to give it away. In order to be a good man, he has to lose his reputation, and to do that, he confesses to the affair, and then, of course, Elizabeth comes in, and because he's already confessed, she is put in a position of becoming a liar, and she loses her name. Both of them, trying to do the right thing, end up incriminating themselves in the eyes of the court, because their power is very, very narrow. It doesn't accept the breadth and the complication of the moral issues at stake. Of course, when it comes to this point, I believe that John calls Abigail's accusations as a whore's vengeance, that kind of sexual language tied in with the sense of revenge. It's extremely bitter. And he's trying to get across that the accusations are because they had this affair, and that's why she is so bitter. He says, she seeks to dance with me on my wife's grave. She wants to have me, but she wants my wife dead so that she can have me. So he's trying to protect his reputation. He's trying to uphold these charges against Abigail, but the court doesn't believe him. And in trying to prove Abigail's guilt and his name to be true, he actually has to sacrifice it. It's a very, very unusual kind of circular argument. I have some final notes which I need to get through very quickly because this video is getting a bit long. At the end, the name, the key speech is, "It's my name, because I cannot have another in my life, because I lie and sign myself to lies, because I am not worth the dust on the feet of them that hang." This repetition, because, this is why it's important. This is why he's seeking to defend his name. And if his name isn't good, if he doesn't do the right thing, if he's not honest, it is not worth the dust on the feet of the innocent people who have gone to hang for crimes they didn't commit. His position by the end is nothing else counts but the name. He must be left with his name. He's been put through these terrible situations, and he does not want to be a part of a justice that will see innocent people die. The key point, of course, in the whole drama comes in this key scene when John and Abigail have to face away from Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has to say whether John has had an affair. In doing so, if she said John has an affair, he loses his name. So in order to try and be honest, she tells a lie, which of course is what the court didn't want to hear, because it proves that she doesn't always tell the truth. As such, she may not be telling the truth about Abigail, and it all unravels from that point. So John's name, it's soiled at the beginning by the affair with Abigail. In the court, he tries to save it, but a series of complications means that he actually destroys it. And then by the end, because he's been involved in so much blood loss and so many executions, which he sought to avoid. He tried to be the good man, and all these people went to the gallows. He tried to avoid all of that. The only thing he has left is his name. "You have taken my soul, leave me my name," I think is the quote as it goes. So that's a very rough guide to the reputation. I didn't focus enough on the key scene in there, but we can actually tie that back up to some of those techniques mentioned in the box at the top. I hope this has been useful, and I will try and do another one of these later on in the week. If you have any questions, the usual channels, Twitter, Classroom, email. Speak to me in person. Who knows?